I think, sir, we can start now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you, sir. Uh, I welcome everyone today in this online expert lecture series. And today we have got a very senior IFS officer of 2004 batch from UP cadre, Shri HV Girisha, who is presently working as Joint Director in Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. Sir has served as Divisional Forest Officers and Conservator of Forest in Uttar Pradesh for more than 10 years as DCF and then for CF. And since 2019, he is working with the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. Sir has very uh, good experience of teaching also in Karnataka. And afterwards, during his training days, and afterwards, he has been a gold medalist and had several academic awards. Sir, we are actually celebrating our Vishwa Dharohar Utsav, that is uh, to commemorate the World Heritage Site inscription of Great Himalayan National Park by UNESCO. So in 2014, Great Himalayan National Park was inscribed as World Heritage Site, and this is almost ninth year now. And to celebrate it uh, as a pre-event, we are celebrating this online expert lecture series. Though the major event is 25th and 26th, and we would have been very glad had it been possible for you to join us then. But uh, as God will, uh, in this lecture series, we have got the field functionaries of wildlife wing of Himachal Pradesh, especially from the Great Himalayan National Park, and we also have got uh, range officer trainees from Himachal Pradesh Forest Academy, Sundarnagar. I hope, sir, it will be a good, enriching, and learning experience for all of us to learn about the assigned topic, focusing on the wildlife crimes, especially in Western Himalayas. So now I will not elaborate much on it and hand over this stage to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm Natalie Forbes. In Portrait Photography.
Well, at the outset, let me thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share whatever experience that we have gained in the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. And also, I would like to congratulate the GHNP administrators, including the Deputy Director, Nishan and all. So it's really a wonderful event that you organized because the pre-events are I could see the lecture series. Most of them are by very senior officials, including Dhananjay Mohan sir. So lucky to be one among them anyway. So thank you for this opportunity given to me. And I could see the trainees sitting over there in, I think, Sundarnagar Forest Academy. So I visited the academy. It's a beautiful academy, well placed, well situated. Right, I could see lot many field officials joined here. So I would like just give me a second. So sorry about it. So this is a nuisance, sitting in the office and talking to people. So, with all respect to all seniors who are present in the today's meeting, and also a lot of affection for the junior colleagues who have joined online meeting. So, I am here to speak about to the wildlife crime and a little bit of investigation. So this, today's 1 hour lecture, we have lost almost 8 minutes, around 42 minutes. In 42 minutes, like, we will, learn little bit about the wildlife crime. I will be showing you only the tip of the iceberg because it is such a deep-rooted crime, and it has, expanded to international scenario as well. So it's very difficult to make you understand in such a short span of time to what it is actually, but still we will have some glimpse about wildlife crime happening around us. And the entire this 40 minutes lecture is scheduled in two parts. First is about to know about wildlife crime, and second part is to know about little bit of law and application of it for investigation. Right. So can somebody confirm that my voice is loud and clear?
Of course, it's very clear, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. So with taking with if you all of you are with me, so then I would like to share my screen so that I will take you along with me through whatever I want to convey to you. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Right? It's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is it full screen?
Yes, sir. It's full
Okay,
screen,
right.
sir.
Right. Thank you. So today let's see we will learn something about the wildlife crime and investigation. As requested by the organizers. So I'm focusing, more about the Western Himalayas only, right? Well, so let me start, this lecture with a quote by our, the father of the nation. What he says is obviously, holds good for all nations in the world. The greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated, right? So because they're voiceless, so they don't go with the petition to anybody. So obviously, the greatness of the nation goes easy to judge by the way the citizen of that country and the lawmakers treat the animals, right? So it's very obvious in the logo of our ministry as well. So it's very well said that the nature protects if she is protected. So it's very obvious. So let us understand, because it's very important to know about what we have before jumping into, why we should conserve it. This is because one of the reasons why we should be conserving that. So India is the seventh largest country in the world, having 2.4% of the land area, but harbor almost 8% of the total recorded species. And we have one among the 17 mega biodiversity areas, and we have almost four global hotspots, biodiversity hotspots. So if you see the species by, then it is we have mammalian 8%. Hello. See, thank you. Right. So we have mammalian 8%, avian almost 13%. We have reptiles almost 6%, and amphibians 4%, and fisheries so 12%, and we have flowering plants about 6%. So before I just want to give you a rough idea about what is wildlife crime. So it's very simple to understand because it's not defined in the Act. So we can very well understand that we have the provisions under Wildlife Protection Act, and if at all there is any violation of the provisions of the Act, we can easily understand that as wildlife crime in the national context. But what about this in the international context? So international context, we have CITES. So that is, it's an international convention. So this is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna. So it includes both flora and fauna, because whenever it is wildlife crime, whatever comes to our mind is only about animals, not that only. In the international scenario, the provisions of violation of provisions of the CITES is also understood as wildlife crime. So, in nutshell, wildlife crime includes all this, illegal hunting, because hunting can be legal also, illegal hunting, poaching, and destruction of habitat or boundary, like meddling with the boundaries, and illegal trafficking, forging with the documents, illegal trade and pet trade, and illegal possession of any scheduled wildlife or its contraband. So all these, include, constitute wildlife crime in a nutshell. Wildlife crime is pretty well organized crime, which has the poaching groups we call hunting communities, and they have their own middle local level brokers and the carriers, national traders, international dealers, and ultimately, so there would be some mechanism to transport all of them either through courier, cargo ships, or human transport, and to take it to the international market. So here, what is important for all of us enforcement agencies is this one, the carriers and the delivery mechanisms. So these are easy to catch, and whatever seizure that you have been seizing is only this and the first one. So these are all the easy linkages. It is very difficult to like catch out of these brokers and national and international level traders. So there are intricacies in this. We have to really like investigate every link of that. Then only we can catch out of these linkages. So this is well because it can be easily understood. You can very well appreciate say this inverse relationship between the profit and the risk involved in this wildlife crime. So all those hunting communities operating at the ground and the possessors who actually control this trade and the carriers who actually deliver these contrabands to some other places and in some cases like ivory or the skins and all the processors are the final who finish them up and the middleman, and at the end we have end buyers. So in this latter you can very well see that the risk is very high at this end, at the poacher's end, but the profits, if you see, it is very high at the end user level. So this is where people play very safe as middlemen or the investor, and because the hunters are mostly the local communities and mostly the forest department or even the local police catch hold of only the hunters, rarely the carriers, but rest of them generally go scot free. Just to give you a rough idea about why this crime is very serious crime and why it has got assumed international importance is that see there's one study by IPBES concluded in 2021 which says that international legal trade in wildlife has been almost increased by 500% between 2005 to 2005 to 2021, that like almost in 15 years. So the trade has been increased by so much so that it's difficult to even find out where actually the cargo is moving and how actually the cargoes are moving. So the estimated value of the global estimate, I would say, is around 7 to 23 billion US dollars per year. So that is only the illegal trade worth. But if you see that, and it is almost 1/4 of the total legal total worth of the legal consignments. If you see one country like United States, the number of shipments, the legal trade I am talking about, the legal trade number of shipments have been almost doubled in 15 years. Like it was 7,000 cargoes, containers in 2000, and there were almost 13,000 containers in 2015. So this is why the volume of trade and volume of illegal trade in wildlife is so huge that now it has really assumed the international importance. So why it is the global concern, I really explained already. So just to make it very clear, so the illegal drug and arms and human trafficking, of course, are very important illegal crime. So happen observed internationally, but the wildlife, of course, here stands at 4th position. But nevertheless, it doesn't include the illegal money earned through the timber trafficking. If you add the timber trafficking value also, then it will almost assume the 2nd position in the global phenomenon. So all this illegal trade, of course, happens because of the movement of these wildlife, pets, and contrabands. So of course they go out of the country, as India is known as the source country. They come into India also because nowadays we are observing that a lot many pets, exotic pets, are coming into India, and of course they travel within the country as well. So the movement of these wildlife and the contrabands, mostly it is like concealed or hidden, so never is done in the open. So very difficult to keep a track of it. So it is almost said that India as a source country earlier, now it is of course observed as a transit country and the sink country as well. So most of the contrabands are going out to China and to Middle East, the Southeast Asian countries, and also said that it is the pets are also smuggled out to Europe and Northern America and Gulf countries. But it's important to understand is that these are the transit countries like the Nepal, the Nepal is bordering to us, Bhutan and Myanmar, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. So many of the cargoes are going going through either through them or going to them, and from there, so they are taking off. So there would be lot many modus operandi which poachers will be using to poach animals for illegal hunting, like using illegal guns or the licensed guns, electrocution, leg hold traps, poisoning, snare, and country-made bomb, and all that. So all of them are used for poaching of big cats. But this poisoning is the most recent phenomena, so that's being observed throughout the nation. Snare is something generally used for the ungulates for bushmeat, but big cats also get succumb to it. Similarly, it is so in case of leopard also. So each body part of leopard is also traded equally like that of tigers. Rhino is another one which is high priced. Rhino horns are like traded like equivalent to gold. So the only economically important part as far as illegal smuggling is concerned is the rhino horn. And nowadays it is seen that in the international forum, the trophies are being made out of rhino horns for gift purpose. Sophisticated weapons are used to poach the rhinos to extract rhino horns. Convergence of crime is another recently observed phenomenon, like narcotics, drugs, and the wildlife crime is happening together because the carrier remains the same, and these poachers and the smugglers request money. The carriers and the runners, so they are involved in all sort of these businesses. So it's well-known phenomenon that the elephants are poached for ivory, and ivories are used for making hankos, bangles, ornaments, idols, and all. So they are also killed with these using weapons like either firearms or electrocution. Again, is the recent phenomenon. This phenomenon, of course, is not observed in India, but reported from Myanmar that the skin of the elephant is used for manufacturing these beads. So those beads are used to wear in the anklets. The pangolin is another species which has come in the focus, and the pangolin babies are used for manufacturing, and the scales are used to manufacture coats like this in the fashion industries. It has some. It is said that it has some medicinal value also in Chinese medicines. The mongoose is another little species. Knowingly, unknowingly, all of us have used mongoose hair brushes either for fine arts or for shaving like that. So this is the very little creature which has have greater importance in the agriculture field because it plays a crucial role in the agricultural ecosystem. So this is another species, and this is very important from the point of view of Himachal, Uttarakhand, and Ladakh. So western part of Himalayas. The Chiru is one which is listed in Schedule 1, and of course Appendix 1 of CITES. The Shatu shawl are made of the Chiru wool. I think almost 3 to 4 animals are sacrificed to manufacture one shawl. So this is the deadly business, and the product is having huge demand in the European countries. So the wool is smuggled into India, like concealed within the wool or the clothes, and or it is courier to India through postal parcels, and the finished products are taken away from India through check-in baggages like that, right? And in all these high-end shops, mostly targeting upon the foreign tourists because they really afford for because 10 to 15 lakh, so hardly only few Indians would like to purchase these kind of shawls. Monitor lizard is another species. The genitals of the monitor lizards like this, so they are used for in the black magic. So the lizards, of course, are caught, and the end portion is the dorsal portion is cut open, and the testicles are made to come out after heating them, and they are extracted and used in black magic. The tokegau is found in northeastern part of India. This is also, of course, being used by many perverted people. Like it is dipped into the alcohol and used as assumed to be aphrodisiac. Snake venom is recently observed phenomenon, mostly found in the border areas. So all these seizures that are shown here are the seizures from the northeastern border. So wherein the presence of venom is confirmed in all these jars, but the preservation method is yet to be found out. So again, the same spiny-tailed lizard. Spiny-tailed lizards are used because we must have all seen that Sanda oil is what is famous. You would see in the local markets, rural primary markets. So all these spiny-tailed lizards are caught and the livers are taken out and they are fried, they are roasted to extract oil, and it is then like this filled into small vials and used as painkillers. So ये बहुत important है हिमाचल के लिए. बहुत सारे birds जो हिमाचल में होंगे. So because Himachal is known for beautiful birds, so all of them are not here. जितना इम्पोर्टेंट बहुत ही फ्रीक्वेंटली जो सीजर होते हैं वही यहाँ पे है. बट हिमाचल में बहुत अच्छा है फेदर के लिए और मीट के लिए. हिमाचल के बहुत सारे बर्ड्स का हंटिंग किया जाता है एंड पैराकीट स्पेशली जितने भी पंजाब के किनारे जितना पंजाब के किनारे वाले जितने भी फॉरेस्टेड एरिया होगा हिमाचल के फॉरेस्ट में भी बहुत सारे जो पैराकीट्स होंगे वहाँ से उठाया जाता है और दे कम हियर टू दिल्ली एंड दे गो टू मुरादाबाद मेरठ एंड ऑल. So this is another pet trade, in the wild birds of India. So to be marine species भी बहुत सारे हैं. For example, sea cucumber, seashells, sea horses, shark fins, and all of them are in illegal trade. Turtles and tortoises are very important. So almost 10 species have been recorded in illegal trade. उसमें से जो बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है वो ये सॉफ्ट शेल टर्टल खाने के लिए इस्तेमाल बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. ही इज़ द हीरो. इंडियन स्टार टर्टोइज इज द हीरो बिकॉज लॉट ऑफ देम आर रियली एक्सपोर्ट आई मीन स्मगल्ड आउट ऑफ इंडिया. 10 टर्टल जो है बहुत ज़्यादा एक्वेरियम्स में मिलते हैं. तो बहुत ज़्यादा एक्वेरियम शॉप में भी सीजर होते हैं भी है. सो ऐसे छुपा के लेके जाया जाता है. इसे वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मेक आउट within the gunny bags, within the hot cases, and within the check-in baggages like this. Very difficult to make out. The modus operandi is so secretive. सो इतना वाइल्ड लाइफ क्राइम की जानने के बाद तो आपको थोड़ा सा ये बताऊंगा कि कैसे अलग अलग जगहों पे जो सीजर हुए हैं तो वो किस टाइप की सीजर्स होते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल कि एयरपोर्ट में, एयर कार्गो में, या फिर ट्रेन्स में, या पोस्टल कुरियर्स में अलग अलग टाइप की जो सीजर्स हुए हैं. सो एक दो दिखाता हूँ सो दैट आपको एक आइडिया आ जाएगा कि कैसे इसका स्मगलिंग होता है. और खुद ऑफ कोर्स हिमाचल के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. खुद के बहुत सारे जो ग्रोअर्स है वो अपर हिमालयन रीजन में है. दे आर रजिस्टर्ड, दे डू टेक साइटिस परमिट, बट it is again of course illegally smuggled into India also. So this is a seizure happened in Mumbai. The consignment was coming from China to India and it was heading towards Amritsar actually. So Amritsar strategic position है. In one of the slide I'll tell you why it is important for all of you who are working in western part of Himalaya. ये अगरवुड है, नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न इंडिया में पाया जाता है. बट सीजर हैपेंड इन दिल्ली. सो चिप्स जो है ऐसे लेकर के आते हैं. सो चेक इन बैगेज के थ्रू लेके जाते हैं. वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू मेक आउट. सो इसलिए हम CISF को और एयर इंटेलिजेंस यूनिट्स को इन सबों को ट्रेनिंग देते हैं सो दैट वो इनको डिटेक्ट कर पाए. So it is again a seizure in airport. So all these turtles, tortoises have been seized. Pet trade में ये मिलते हैं. Although lion cubs, primates, cubs and all. So all these are found in the pet trade. ये जो है ये actual seizure है कोलकाता में जो हुआ था. Again, star tortoise. Sorry, we're going back. Okay. So these are coming into India, smuggled into India. All reptiles. इसमें geckos होंगे, snakes होंगे. So these are all mostly used in fashion industry. So all these exotic species are seized in Chennai airport. So same tarantula, bearbill, and all this. Macau is an exotic species coming into India very costly birds. A pair may cost around 12 to 14 lakh rupees. So again, same agar wood, agar oil, shatu shawls. This is how the birds are generally smuggled into and out of India. So keeping them in perforated pipes. Mail is one of the highly abused, transport. I would say, because till recently, the person who is booking all this, consignments, so they were not questioned about their whereabouts, and mostly it was all fudgified. So अभी तो शुरू किया है, सारे डिटेल्स लिया जाता है, कौन भेज रहा है, सारा चीज़ लिया जाता है, it's being reduced, but this is one of the potential means of illegal transport. तो ये पोस्टल का सीजर है जहाँ पे लाइव स्नेक्स, ये बेबीज, क्रोकोडाइल बेबीज, ये सारे चीज़ सीज हुए थे. So this is another seizure in Atari border. It is again post office seizure जहाँ पे किंगफिशर की stuffed what is it, feathers and peacock tail feathers, they were all seized. The few intelligence-led operations of WCCB, focusing only upon western part of Himalayas. So you would observe that, I'll just run through, you would observe that most of them are leopards. हिमाचल के होंगे, उत्तराखंड के होंगे, या फिर जेके जम्मू कश्मीर के होंगे. There are mostly leopards or these bear whales and pangolins. So most of them are, all these three species. But doesn't mean that other species are not in target. But mostly the traded, highly traded the animals are these three. Again, pangolins, leopard parts, pangolin scales, leopard parts. ये हाथी का दांत है उत्तराखंड का. Bear whales and leopard, bear whale and pangolin scales. So this is one of the largest seizure happened last year in Jammu Kashmir. It was a twin seizure happened in Manwal and Anantnag, wherein 13 leopard skins and 38 bear whales and 4 muspards. So they were all recovered with a lot of bones of leopard. So in the single operation. This is another recent phenomenon that has been observed, that for the last 4 years, almost 4 operations have been done by WCCB. Every year we do take it up. So a lot of illegal trading is happening on internet. So these are all some live examples where they offer to sell on different trade portals, or on YouTube, or on Facebook, or on WhatsApp, like that. So this is one such example wherein turtle was offered for sale and seizure was done effectively. So this is one of the biggest seizure wherein lot many sea fans and lot many sea marine products have been seized along with Hatha Jodi. So here same thing, Hatha Jodi and lot many marine products. So ivory articles were put on sale online, and again ivory articles, rings and all put on sale. So ivory as well as the leopard skin and all, including they were all offered for sale online. Again, Indian star tortoise, the horns. So these are musk pods. A lot many articles. Okay, this is a single operation wherein lot of recovery was done in Kanyakumari, wherein all these were offered for sale in on YouTube. So considering this, WCCB take up special operations. Every year we launch and include all enforcement agencies like state forest police agencies and paramilitary forces, CBI, and all of them. So with the help of all of them, we conceive the operation and effectively coordinate it. And like Turtle Shield series is for turtles, Thunder series is Interpol operations, and we all become party to it. Wildnet series is to figure out all those illegal trade happening on internet. So Operation Less Know is for the lesser known species, that are not in the limelight, for all those species. And Operation Clean Out was done exclusively for mongoose in 2019. Birbil was done in 17 exclusively for big cats. Soft Gold was done exclusively for Shatu shawls. It was a wonderful operation, has got a lot of appreciation internationally also. Free Fly was launched for wild birds. Right. So this is about the crime part of it. So till now, you could get some feeling about some feel of wildlife crime happening and how this illegal trade is happening. Now coming to the western part of Himalayas. So western part of Himalayas, has two states, Uttarakhand, Himachal, and two UTs, JK and Ladakh. It has, it shares international border also. One side Nepal, China, and of course the Tibet part of China, and other side it is Pakistan. So we have three international boundaries, surrounding the western part of Himalayas. So lot many passes are there, all end with either Imisla, Jarala, Manas Pass. Starting from Lipu Lake, the western part of Himalayas passes start from Lipu Lake and goes up to I think Banihal Pass, which is the last one in the extreme end, or the Pir Panjal maybe. So these are all the strategic point wherein the illegal trade generally observed earlier, and all of them have been guarded by either the military, paramilitary forces or by the custom posts. But over the time, the smugglers have evolved, mechanism to escape all these normally guarded trade routes. Like there are the routes of course existing, but the old one or enforcement agencies have mapped all of them, but they are in the book in the books of enforcement agencies. But these smugglers always take these products, all these contrabands off route only. So they never follow a fixed route. Every time they would be changing their routes. So this is another notoriously known as a Silk Route earlier. All trade used to happen through this, and both of them crosses here in Jammu Kashmir area, wherein the shipments come from the Indian Ocean used to go there, and from Arabian Bay of Bengal also, right? Sorry, Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, both of them. So they used to go upward. The Silk Route generally used to it is known to connect the China to the Middle East through the Central Asia. It is to connect China to the Middle East through the Central Asia, and one of the route, two of them crosses through India. So most of the trade used to happen earlier in this, and any oldies or any external syndicate, I mean foreign syndicate who would be of course eyeing upon Indian contrabands would be preferring to trade because they are motorable and easy to transport also. But that is about the vehicle transport. But smugglers in this carrying the small contrabands would always carry them off road. So coming to Himachal Pradesh, you can see this is the actual figures. Of course, the data is from Himachal only. You could see the Chamba, Kangra, Solan, and Sirmaur, the bordering districts, the high tension zones, the bordering ones. The crime registered in these four districts are very high compared to the other ones, the Kulu, Kinnaur, Lahaul Spiti, of course, the least. I think of that, only one case is reported. I don't know why, because the data is from 92 to 2020. So the only 79 cases have been reported from Himachal Pradesh, which is too less. Maybe because of the reason that Forest Department has stopped booking the cases in between. That may be the one reason. But recently, I think 2018, 19 is a good indication. Maybe because of the training, rigorous trainings and all. So see, the detection is the one, detection and the booking cases. Otherwise, they go unreported. That may be the main reason why less number of cases are seen. So the targeted species are monal, thar, marmot, goral, deer, mostly for the meat, and some flora also like Nagchatri, Patis, Karu, and one lasun. So these are all the one which have been emerged in the report that they are either poached or illegally harvested for smuggling. The trade routes that were found through the investigation are the Kulu, then Chamba, Udaipur and Killer were known as the hoarding places and include the Rampur, and they have connections to Amritsar as well as Chandigarh. So Amritsar has a greater connection even from the Himachal Pradesh as well as the Himachal, because many industries are located in Amritsar. So even the drug industries, medicinal, Ayurvedic, all industries are located in Amritsar. Even the musk that that is harvested illegally from the high altitudes of Himalayas comes to Amritsar for the onward sales. Uttarakhand is again the same thing, Dehradun, Haridwar and Udham Singh Nagar. Pithoragarh and Chamoli because they are bordering Nepal. They are now bordering Nepal as well as the Tibet region. The border areas always have witnessed higher number of crimes compared to the other ones. Uttarkashi, of course, bordering Himachal, witnessing the less crime. So, number of crimes registered in Uttarakhand, of course, are more compared to Himachal. Maybe the detections are very, very high. Maybe the forest department is very active in booking cases, and the Uttarakhand STF is also very, very active. They work in collaboration with us also. A lot many cases are done jointly with us also. So there are a lot many cases have been registered both by police as well as the forest. So here the trade routes found are many. All are having collection through Delhi. So most of the contrabands from Rajaji and Carbet, like the Tiger contrabands, used to come Delhi for onward sale to international syndicates. So that was the fixed road. But Darchula is one where it has come in our investigation also. The Shatur's pool is coming through Darchula to India and it's to Delhi and it's going to Srinagar onwards and coming back to Delhi after the shawl is over. So trade routes have to be kept in mind while an investigator investigate the cases. Because we do not have, like in case of Himachal Pradesh, now we do not have any institutional memories because there is a gap of almost 10-15 years wherein forest officials and wildlife officials are not investigating the cases. So there is no institutional memory. So then of course investigation really hampers. So you need to have some handholding with the national agencies or some other agency who is taking up regular investigations. So like in Ladakh, the mainly targeted species is the blue sheep and the Asiatic ibex. Ibex and the blue sheep only for the food, like bushmeat. Snow leopard, of course, is hardly 1%. Could be retaliatory killing also. And Uriel, of course, all these three species are almost comprising nearly 70%, 75% of the total crime that were observed. So birds are of course are there 15%, but I don't have the figure for Jammu Kashmir. If you see it for the Jammu Kashmir, of course would be there Uriel, blue sheep and ibex, but the number of birds cases would be many more in case of Jammu and Kashmir. So here the trade route, because lot many things are connected to straight away Chandigarh and Delhi and Amritsar. So trade routes in case of like Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh worked out have been have been found connections to even Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand all. So this is very active trade route that has been worked out. So and really because so it cannot be one way. It is always two way, both the way. So they come here, they come back to Delhi and from go back to the source places from Delhi. So either way, so investigator would be getting lot many clues if trade routes are very clear in the mind. So now for investigation, this is all the background that I was setting up, why, for an investigator, what is all important to know. One should have a thorough knowledge about, about the crime, about the modus operandi and the trade route and the species that are in target and the geography. So all these should be in mind for an investigator to investigate in a case. For effectively, you want to connect all the dots for effective prosecution as well as taking the case to the logical conclusion. Now, forest officers and wildlife officials who are investigating the case derive all powers for investigation from the Section 50 of Wildlife Protection Act. So, which empowers all officials vested with power to entry, search, and arrest and detention. So, all these powers have been, like in the Bear Act, is given to Director or WLP, Chief Wildlife Warden, and any officer authorized by him or the government, and any forest officer and police officer not below the rank of SI. So here lot many sections and the investigator should be thorough with all these sections, which section is prohibiting what. Like when there is a fire, because a hunter could be lighting a fire also, hunting an animal also, like meddling with the boundary pillar also. We should be knowing thoroughly about the provisions of the sections, provisions of the act. So which is which section has to be invoked, right? So one should master these sections before initiating and starting the investigation and all. So that was about, these sections are related to crime, right? I mean, wildlife crime. And these sections, all these sections are related to illegal trade of wildlife and wildlife contrabands. So here, starting from the ownership, like it is very mandatory and prohibiting about the possession of it, transportation of it, and compulsory declaration of it. And we should know the powers also, like the person who is actually investigating the case, like if it is DCF and above, they have a power of suspension of or cancellation of the licenses also under Section 43 of Wildlife Protection Act. So these things have to be, like mastered by an investigator before taking up a case. Like this of course is very important provision, but until unless because the release power is not vested with the forest officer or the wildlife officer, any property seized, of course, is at the mercy of the judiciary, right? So I always advise to invoke even the Forest Act also along with the Wildlife Protection Act, right? Whenever, because if you see the definition of forest produce, it covers even wildlife also. So good to invoke the, Forest Act also, so that DCF can easily confiscate the vehicle or the tools that have been used in commission of an offense. And, of course, parallelly, because these are all these all laws are made in such a way that you can invoke all other laws also, right, along with the core sections of the law. So this is very important section for an investigator, like, under subsection 8 of 50. An officer not below the rank of Assistant Director of WCCB or ACF authorized by the state government. So he is, of course, having the magisterial powers. So all these quasi-judicial powers should be utilized by an effective investigator, right? So he has the power to issue a search warrant, and he has power to receive and record the evidences, enforce the attendance of any witness, right? And he can compel the discovery and production of documents and the materials, whatever is concerned to the case. So for the purpose of investigation, he can enforce, he can utilize all these powers as is empowered in the law. Section 54 is again another quasi-judicial power vested with forest officials. So any officer not below the rank of DCF is authorized to compound an offense, right? And here in case of WCCB, it's assistant director, not below the rank of assistant director. So one should be knowing his own powers also to exercise, how judiciously he can exercise, so that he can bring in justice to the voiceless wildlife. Some typical features of the Wildlife Act should be known to everybody, for every investigator. See here, seizure is done first and the case is registered later, right? In case of police, only an officer above the rank of SI is authorized to investigate the case. So all seized articles invariably have to be produced before the court, even if it is to be compounded by the DCF. So quasi-judicial powers are vested with the forest officials. They book the case and they exercise their judicial powers as well. Statement given to the forest officials above the rank of ACF is admissible in court of law, and we have got only one section to master as far as penal provisions are concerned. Compounding powers are vested with the forest officials, I told, quasi-judicial powers. So here in all wildlife cases, although it is booked by police, they'll have to file a complaint. It is a complaint case, charge sheet is not filed. Here in this case, as in case of charge sheet, wherein supplementary charge sheets are filed, in case of complaints, no supplementary complaint provision is there. So there is a provision for forfeiture of illegally derived property in the in Wildlife Protection Act, because it involves lot many agencies like the police officer of the rank of IG and forest officer of the rank of CCF. So it takes hell out of a job for a DFO to convince these two authorities before starting the procedure of forfeiture of illegally derived property. So the best way I always advise is to invoke PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. DFO has been authorized. Only he has to attach the seizure memo as well as the case copy, like FIR copy or the departmental case copy, and send a recommendation to the regional joint director of ED. So they will immediately register a case under PMLA and proceed with their own proceedings. And most of the cases I have seen, they are very effective. So I would like to tell you about Like everywhere, people are making hue and cry about illegalities happening in the Western Himalayas. So this is one of the research articles wherein the researchers also found out that there is lot many illegal things are happening, which is threatening the existence of wildlife in the western part of Himalayas. So it clearly says ki all around Mount Kailas and all, and the researchers allege that it is the Chinese who are exploiting it all. But मजे की बात यह है कि Chinese researchers have also researched. So this paper is from China. So they would also say that yes, those things are happening in the tension zone between India and Nepal. But they say that ki, yeah, our Tibetan antelope is being harvested, giant panda is being harvested. So things are happening, whether it's this side or that side in the border areas, because not many people have access to it, and most of the land is no man's land, and most of them are covered by the military or the paramilitary areas. So lot many things are not revealed actually. So lot many things are not coming out. So here the challenges, as we have seen, is the terrain. Of course, this is a big challenge. Interstate coordination, of course, should be effective to conduct effective communication. There is a weak communication network in the hills, as we have understood. They are all connected to international borders. A lot of force has been deployed. The skills for intelligence gathering, enforcement, and investigations are very poor because not in practice. So best way to answer this is to have a database, right? So Uttarakhand has come out with a database, and Himachal Pradesh is of course in the process of building it up. WCCB is already having it with almost 900 login credentials with all DFOs and 50 tiger reserves, 34 DGPs and 35 chief wild wardens. A lot of data is coming into the database, whichever is uploaded to it. Whenever it is needed, even states are also given with the data, analyze and give all better inputs from WCCB. Need to enhance the capacity of the investigators and the field staff. So we also keep conducting capacity building training programs for all the states, and so far thousands of officials have been trained, by WCCB. This is a very good interface with PRI and other stakeholders. Need to be in touch with all of them. The community intelligence is very valuable nowadays. Everybody can be easily get connected. Sensitization of all other agencies who are deployed in the border areas, in the custom areas, in the exit point is very, very important. Interagency coordination should be very effective in order to effect excellent and smart investigation. Because now, as I said, it is the wildlife crime is international, having international ramifications, and nowadays we are all heading towards specialization. When ED does financial investigation, when police does criminal investigation, we should also be like empowered ourselves for wildlife crime investigation. So here it is the time we should pick all those skills from other agencies, take the help of all other agencies for the expert advice as well as specialized investigation. Publications are very important. They act as a smart guide to all investigators. So there are a lot many publications hosted on WCCB website, freely available. Anybody can download them and utilize them. Social media is very effective nowadays, and you should use your own Twitter, and you should keep following the all these social media handles of the other leading investigation agencies, which throws a lot of light on ongoing investigations. The education materials are very important, because they can be easily floated across the eco clubs, among the student masses, among the general public also, so that you start getting information. Collaboration with all those authorities like airport authorities, railway authorities, and transport authorities is very, very important, because they are the places wherein a lot of public movement and mass movement is there. So you should be able to put up better hoardings so that effectively it should be communicated that wildlife crime is a serious offense. So like these hoardings have been erected in railway platforms. Coordination with online portals, trade portals is very, very important. So like we have done it effectively to assume the filters, keep active filters, keep operating them, so that anywhere such products are offered for sale online, so can be easily taken out. Yeah, before ending my presentation, I would like to give this piece of advice to all of you who are working in the Himalayan states. See, mobile applications are very handy, and internet has reached almost all corner of the country. So, lot many applications are in place. I will be sharing that. I'll be reading them out so you can note down also. So nowadays, citizen charters are very active, so they should be utilized. It's very effective, especially states like Himachal, Uttarakhand, wherein the gentry is well read and the education level is very high. Everybody uses smartphone and all. So citizen charter should be citizen science charter would be an effective communication means as well as a solution for collecting information and effective investigation. See, as on date, these many projects are already running, especially focusing upon the Himalayas. So the Bird Count India, India Biodiversity Portal, Frog Watch, Road Watch, Citizen Sparrow, Hornbill Watch India, Biodiversity Atlas, Butterflies of India. So all these have shown the website also. So all these all they are open applications having access to everybody. Unfortunately, all of them are focusing only upon the conservation, like gathering information. So they are only focusing upon the biodiversity part of it, not the crime part of it. So taking them as an example, an application may be devised which will be very handy for all administrators in the Himalayan states, and they can be floated so that you can, like Uttarakhand has done it. So that as a part of the database, they have devised that mechanism, so that can be really done even for Himachal also. So that is all I wanted to share with you all. So thank you very much for the patient listening. So we are still with, I think, 5 minutes time. So if anybody is having any doubt and all, so please feel free to ask. And I have left my numbers and all those here. People can note down. My WhatsApp number is active always, and so anybody is having any query also. Sometime
Evening,
later
sir.
on, whenever you want to look up to for some information or handholding, can really contact me.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please carry on.
Hello. May I audible, sir?
Yeah, yeah. You
Sir,
are audible.
am I audible, sir? Good evening, sir.
Yes. Good evening.
Unmute here, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. You are audible.
Good evening, sir. Sir, am I audible, sir?
You are audible.
Sir, my question is that, sir, there is a recent incident of sighting the kangaroo near the chicken neck, sir, in West Bengal. Sir, what is
Yeah.
this case and how they came to India, and all the reasons behind that, and what are the investigations that are going there, sir?
Okay, good observation. I appreciate that. So have you heard of, recently there was a bigger meeting, the lobbying by all African countries like Namibia, Zimbabwe and all that. They wanted to, sell off all those, the ivories that they are sitting over for money. So have you heard of that, recently? That was not, that did not come through actually. So the conservationist lobby did not allow it to happen. So I just wanted to, I wanted you to relate, the story of this kangaroo with that. See, what happens is, last year in 2020, Government of India opened up, issued a guideline to register all exotics available with them, right? And, all chief wildlife wardens were requested to register all sort of exotics available with the people. So here, many people attempted to smuggle into all sort of exotics so that they can get, because no document was to be asked for registration, right? So that was the golden charm for all smugglers. So people must have attempted smuggling so that they can get it registered, right? So they could not be successful. That is why the kangaroos were found on the streets. Could you get it?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, right. So what happens, even in that African countries like Zimbabwe, Namibia, and all those, Botswana, so they are sitting over hundreds of quintals of the ivory they want to earn money selling them off, to Japan and China. But that is not allowed, because if that is allowed once, so then in the cause of that, so lot many poachings would happen. A lot of poaching would happen to collect, ivory. So that is the reason. So that is how it happens. Once a chance is given without, properly, when it is not properly implemented, it goes wrong. So that will lead to poaching, lot of poaching. Anybody has any other question?
Range Officers Academy. Any questions? Push on.
So mainly we are discussing about this animals only. So what about these timber species and plants? So there are issues of India is trying to get the Shisu species to get out of that CITES list. Sir. What is that issue and how it is impacting India?
See, Shishu is like, it comes like a weed. Where from are you? Which state are you from?
Uh, I am asking about the Delvergia species, sir. I am from Himachal only.
You are from Himachal. So that's why I'm asking. See, if you come down to Himachal, in all along the river beds, you would see, Shisam coming like weed only, right? It is a primary species. In the succession, it is the primary succession species. So it doesn't require any special efforts in India to grow them, right? It comes like a weed. So there is a lot of dependency upon Shisham, because are our fine arts, rural artisans, like they prepare a lot of handicrafts out of the shishu, and these they are marketing it. So we have picked up a lot of international market also. So अभी क्या हुआ कि because of Dalbergia Kochi sinensis, which is called redwood, from I think one of the African countries, I'm forgetting, Peru I think. तो वहां पे क्या हुआ कि उन्होंने उसको लिस्ट कर दिया था, राइट, दैट इज वन में लेके आए थे. तो दैट इज डलबर्जिया जीनस, राइट. सो क्या हुआ कि उसको बचाने के चक्कर में द प्ली दे टेकन वाज कि शीशम को और उसको डिस्टिंग्विश नहीं कर पाएंगे इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में. जब शीशम चले जाएगा, अगर शीशम के साथ डलबर्जिया कोची साइनेंसिस मिक्स हो जाता है, रेडवुड, हम उसको डिटेक्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे. आइडेंटिफिकेशन इज डिफिकल्ट. तो इसलिए सारे डलबर्जिया जीनस पूरा 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 लगा दिया उन्होंने. बट इट इज हैम्परिंग आवर ट्रेड एक्चुअली, राइट. So then it is like lot of red tapeism is involved in this. So इसीलिए हम लोग फाइट कर रहे हैं, उसको हटाइए. So that need not be applied here. No, Dalbergia sisu is not an endangered species here. इसीलिए. You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I think और किसी का कोई क्वेश्चन है तो पूछ सकते हैं. Sir, I think there are no more further questions, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much. It was wonderful
thank you.
interacting with you all. But my numbers are open. My email ID is also given, and anybody is having any question later on also, so they can share your doubts and all. Or if you want any guidance, any coordination required whenever you are in the field, or sometimes I have solved many cases wherein range officers came to me and put those words only in my ears, right? Even if you want to know, all these things are kept very confidential out here. So if anybody want to share any sort of information for the benefit of the wildlife, okay? So we are here.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving such encouraging words. Now I take this opportunity to thank formally Shri HV Girisha, sir, for elaborating on the assigned topic of wildlife crime, focusing on the Western Himalayas. Sir, we are very grateful that you elaborated, especially focusing on the Himachal and Himalayan states, and also elaborating on the salient features of the Wildlife Protection Act, elaborating on the type of the trade routes that are being followed for the wildlife crime. It has been very eye-opening for all of us. Uh, Also on the topics like exotics and the modus operandi that is being followed by the poachers. We are very, very grateful to you, sir. It has been absolute privilege, sir, to have you among us. We would always like to catch you once more for such interactive talks, sir, in the future, sir. Very, very thank you, Mahesh, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. In fact, I've missed, when I was heading the northern region, we made plan to visit, to conduct training program in GHNP twice. So
Sir,
when
sir, sir.
Sunit was there, so
Right.
we couldn't, do it. And this time, so I'm traveling. I'm going on 24th, so I'm unable to come on 25th again. So something is happening in GHNP anyway. So I'll make it. I'll make it someday. Yeah.
Sure,
And
sir.
thank
Sure,
you.
sir.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you, sir.
very much
Thank you,
for
sir.
giving this opportunity to talk to you guys. I think Sundarnagar is being visited by a few of my junior colleagues very soon for conducting capacity building training program. So they all will be benefited by our officers' knowledge and experience.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you very
thank you
much,
so
sir.
much.
Bye bye,
Thank
sir.
you all. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.